You know, when you think of American culture, what pops into your head? Probably fast food, right? Hollywood movies, Silicon Valley, and yeah, those things are famous everywhere. But that's kind of just scratching the surface. So what's the real recipe here? What are the core ingredients that mix together to create something, well, so uniquely American?
So that brings up a bigger question, right? What makes any culture unique? I mean, it's always this blend of its history, its values, the people. But for the US, the secret sauce? Well, it's this really fascinating balancing act between two huge and sometimes competing ideas. And here's what that balancing act looks like. See, on one side, you've got America as a nation of immigrants. It's this incredible collective tapestry woven together from cultures all over the globe. But then, on the other side, it's a nation of individuals. It's all about personal freedom, chasing your own dream. And it's that fusion, and yeah, sometimes the friction between these two big forces, the group versus the individual, that really defines what American culture is all about.
Okay, so let's break that down a bit. First up, Pillar 1, the melting pot. This is the side of the equation that's all about that collective diversity we were just talking about. You know, the term melting pot is just so perfect, isn't it? It's this really simple but powerful idea. Imagine taking countless different ingredients, spices, flavors, traditions, from all over the planet, putting them all into one pot, and creating a brand new dish that's never existed before. That's it. That's the bedrock of America's multicultural identity. And the result? Well, it's something you can literally see, hear, and even smell every single day. I mean, you can walk down a single city block and hear a bunch of different languages, smell food from 3 different continents, and see all these different traditions living right next to each other. It's not just some abstract concept, it's a living, breathing, vibrant reality. All right, so let's switch gears and look at the other side of that equation. This is Pillar 2, and it's all about the dream. This is that powerful, individualistic force that balances out the collective melting pot. And right at the very heart of that dream is one single core value: freedom. And we're not just talking about a political idea here. No, this is something that's woven deep into the cultural fabric. It's this fundamental belief that you should be free to be exactly who you want to be and to build the life you imagine for yourself. That right there, that's the fuel for the whole thing.
Okay, so how does this huge idea of freedom actually look in real life? Well, for one, it shows up as this deep need to just express yourself through what you wear, what you say, your whole lifestyle, really. It also fuels that super fast-paced culture of ambition and always being on the move. And it all comes back to this one powerful core belief, that it doesn't matter who you are or where you came from, you can achieve your dream.
So you've got the collective melting pot on one side and the individual dream on the other. What happens when you smash those two powerful forces together? Well, that's when you start to get the cultural output that America is known for all over the world. Let's just take something everybody gets: food. The stereotype is all burgers, pizza, and fries, right? But let's be real for a second. The hamburger, its roots are in Germany. Pizza, it came over with Italian immigrants. Tacos becoming a staple, you can thank Mexican culture for that. Seriously, America's most American foods are literally a direct product of the melting pot.
And it's the exact same story when you look at pop culture. Yeah, of course there's Hollywood, but that's just one part of it. What's really happening is you have millions of individual creators. That's the dream in action, and they're all pulling inspiration from this massive pool of global influences. That's the melting pot. And together they create the music, the movies, the social media trends that then get sent out to the rest of the world.
Even the big national holidays are this perfect mix. Think about the 4th of July. It's this giant, collective, super patriotic party. But what's it celebrating? The idea of individual freedom. And then you have Thanksgiving, a huge national tradition that zooms way in, focusing on the smallest group possible, the individual family, and this really personal feeling of gratitude.
So, what's the big takeaway from this whole cultural equation? It's that you get a society that is constantly changing, constantly evolving. When you combine all those diverse ideas with that intense individual ambition, it means things just don't stay the same for very long.
And that constant churn? That's the engine for innovation. It's what creates this relentless, forward-moving energy. It's a big part of why the US so often ends up leading the way in technology. I mean that drive to invent the future. Everything from the smartphone in your pocket to rockets heading to Mars, it's a direct result of this pretty unique cultural DNA.
So, when you put it all together, what do you get?
You get a culture that is, at its core, diverse. It's incredibly fast-paced. It's endlessly creative. And because of all that, it is always evolving. That, right there, is the American mosaic in a nutshell.
And all of this leaves us with one last, pretty big question to think about. If a culture is basically defined by constant change, if it's fueled by this nonstop tension between the group and the individual, then what's the invisible glue that holds the whole thing together? Definitely something to chew on.